Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Vicente Yante, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at my WWE 2002 DVD pay-per-view collection. So as you can see, I have them here on my bed, and as you can tell by my bedspread, I got this way back in the day. It's a WWF bedspread. As you can see, it says it's got the Raw is War logo, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh, by the way, I realized yesterday that I lost a subscriber. I don't give a shit. I mean, it is what it is. It's only one fucking person. I'm not gonna get all anal about it. I think what happened was they probably got sick of me playing Mega Man games and shit like that. Well, hey, when you have no other content to upload and you're bored, sometimes you do live streams of games you've done in the past. So if that was the case, then, you know, all right, fine. You know, maybe you'll watch this video and you'll be happy and resubscribe, but then again, you probably won't, because it was probably a hater. And remember, like I always said, no haters allowed. So if you're a hater, get your hating behind up out of here, homie. Anyway, but now I'm just ranting. But anyway, so we're gonna go in the order of the DVDs. We're gonna start all the way with January, going into the final pay-per-view of the year. And this was during the WWE. They had their name change. They went from World Wrestling Federation to World Wrestling Entertainment. And 2002 was famous for a lot of issues, a lot of incidents that took place. One I can remember off the top of my head is the plane ride from hell, which resulted in the termination of a couple of wrestlers. The ones I can remember, Scott Hall and Curt Hennig. Of course, you guys remember that Curt Hennig and Brock Lesnar got into a tussle in the freaking emergency exit or whatever, almost busted the door open. And of course, we remember that X-Pac was the one who shaved Michael Hayes, cut off his ponytail or some shit like that. That was pretty funny. I laughed when I heard X-Pac tell that story. And this year's also famous for Stone Cold Steve Austin walking out. He actually took his ball and went home. He did not want to put over Brock Lesnar, which I understand because it was free TV and they were giving it away for free, and that pissed him off. And WWE insisted on it and he didn't like it, so he said, you know what? Fuck you guys, I'm going back to my home in Texas. And he left, and he didn't come back for a long time. He didn't come back until February of the next year. So yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, and then this was also the rise of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar made his WWE debut in 2002. Later go on to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, or the undisputed WWE Champion in that case. And this was also the year where Triple H was given the World Heavyweight title. And you know, that big gold belt that everybody marks out to. I personally don't like it. It only fit good on certain wrestlers. Like, for example, it looked good on Triple H. It looked good on Batista. It looked good on The Big Show. Even Kane. It really looked good on Kane. But when you look at guys like Rey Mysterio, it covered up his entire abdomen, and it looked really weird. Especially with Rey. You know, I'm not making fun of him or whatever, because he's a short guy. But just that little bitty body wearing that big ass belt, it didn't look good. So, but anyway, so yeah, this year was a pretty exciting year for me as a wrestling fan, and this was also the year where the WWE had their brand split, where they separated the shows, because they had a really big roster at that time, so they had to make some adjustments, if you will. So anyway, all right. So the first, here we go. The first DVD we're going to look at is the Royal Rumble 2002, a really great pay-per-view. I really enjoyed this Royal Rumble. I'm not going to be showing you the DVD on the inside, because I'm trying to operate my phone and hold the phone so I could show you the DVD, and if I try to open it, I don't want to drop it, and then that's a disaster waiting to happen. But there's a cover art, pretty cool cover art. I love the Royal Rumble logo. It says 30 men, 1 match, 1 winner. There you go. So there you have it. There's sorry for the glare. There's TV 14. So everybody still clamors that they want WWE to go back to TV 14. They're not going to go back, guys. You know, they're gonna be PG for a long time, whether you like it or not. So there's the back of the DVD. Damn it! That really. Sorry for the light. It's just that my phone, it had, like, when I record a video in this method, the freaking camera light or the flashlight cuts on, and it makes it really annoying. So if there's a way to minimize that, please let me know in the comments. This match, or this pay-per-view, has a lot of great matches. Vince McMahon versus Ric Flair in a street fight. We had The Rock versus Chris Jericho for the Undisputed Championship. We had, I think there was a tag title match. I think it was Taz and Spike Dudley against the Dudley Boys. Yes, I remember that, because they had an angle where they beat up Taz and Spike in the parking lot on SmackDown right before this pay-per-view, actually. And try not to drop the DVD, guys. So if you see me trying to like flip it the other way, I'm trying to be real careful with it. So yeah, Royal Rumble 2002, a really great pay-per-view, well done. Triple H won the Royal Rumble match, which was cool. This was his first pay-per-view back since the quadricep tear in May of 2001. So yeah. Anyway, of course, this was also the night where The Undertaker was eliminated by Maven, and that was a big deal in itself. So the next pay-per-view we're going to look at is No Way Out 2002, from the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I forgot to mention the Royal Rumble was in Atlanta. Sorry if I don't remember the locations of the pay-per-views. As you can see the logo here, you see the letters NWO. No Way Out. This was the pay-per-view. This was the pay-per-view in which the NWO made their return, or made their debut, I guess you could say. Because Vince McMahon was distraught after losing to Ric Flair, and he's like, I'm gonna kill my creation with the NWO. And so there's your matches here. There's the 3 main events that were advertised. You had, sorry for the glare. Sorry, guys. You had Stone Cold versus Jericho for the title, undisputed title. Kurt Angle versus Triple H for the number 1 contender spot. And then you had, and Stephanie McMahon was the referee, by the way. And then you have The Rock versus The Undertaker. And yeah. There's the back. And there's, hey yo chico, say hello to Razor Ramon. There's Scott Hall. Well, let me tell you something, brother. There's Hulk Hogan, and yes, Big Daddy Cool, Kevin Nash. Hey, what's up, guys? That's my best Kevin Nash impression. It's not the best, but it is what it is. And yeah, sadly, Scott Hall would not last very long. He actually got fired, as I said. He got fired due to the plane ride from hell incident. The matches here, you have really great matches. You have shit, I'm drawing a blank. I know we had a tag team title match. It was Booker T and Test versus Spike Dudley and Taz. And then you have, oh yeah, there was a tag team turmoil match, which was won by the Acolytes, Farouk and Bradshaw, who are, by the way, my favorite tag team. And this is where Bradshaw hits one of the most awesome looking clotheslines from hell to, I think it was Billy or Chuck. He just literally nailed him and just knocked him in the next month. So that was funny. You also have the Intercontinental title between Edge and William Regal. You had Goldust versus RVD. Yeah, guys, I'm not a big Rob Van Dam fan. I'll tell you why in a future video. I never cared for him. I mean, I did kind of like him during this time period, but in 2006, I changed my opinion on him. I think he's a drug addict, and like I said, I'll talk about that in a future video. So, anyway, so there it is, No Way Out 2002. Great show. This was the night where NWO, they attacked Austin, pretty much setting up the match between Austin and Scott Hall. And this was also the night where The Rock and Hogan had like their first meeting or whatever, where later on that night where The Rock was in the back, and NWO like, hey, it's The Rock, it's the people's champ. And Hogan wants a picture, and Hogan said something rather distasteful, and The Rock didn't like it. And The Rock kind of like made fun of them, and he's like, you take that camera and stick it up all your candy asses or some shit like that. The Rock was funny. I miss Rock. He was awesome. It's a shame that he turned into a bad guy. And no, guys, I'm not going to be like these wrestling people, these damn smarks on the internet. Oh, he turned heel. No, 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 no. My definition of a heel is the bottom of your freaking foot. So, wrestling terminology can blow me. I hate it. But anyway, it is what it is. And then the damn wrestlers use it too. Like, I've heard Stone Cold say heel and babyface, and it's like, God damn it, Steve, what's wrong with you, bro? But whatever, I guess I have to accept it even though I hate it, but whatever. I will never use those terms, that's for damn sure. So, well, no, I'm just ranting. Anyway, so that's No Way Out 2002. Excellent show. People kind of crap on this pay-per-view, I guess because, every pay-per-view between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania gets like a shitty review. This one kind of got a bad score rating. I actually liked this pay-per-view despite a lot of the villains winning. Like Kurt Angle beat Triple H, Stone Cold lost to Jericho, which we knew was going to happen because, NWO, they wanted to make an impact. And, yeah. There was a funny segment earlier in the show where the NWO gives Stone Cold beer and Stone Cold turns it down. And then Jerry Lawler on the commentary is like, wow, Stone Cold must be sick. He turned down some perfectly good beer. Fucking Lawler. I like Jerry Lawler. Anyway, so, alright, now we go on to in my opinion, one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Icon versus Icon. And, we got Rock versus Hogan. And, it even has the date on here, March 17th, 2002. Whoa. Well, I'll be back. Well, I'll be Bob. Anyway, so, alright. This is a 2-disc set, and, trying to turn it around so you guys can see the back. So there's your WrestleMania logo. This had a really killer soundtrack. I love the music that they chose. Like, we had Drowning Pool and Saliva. I think it was in 2001 when they finally began using, like, licensed music, like, from rock bands and all that shit. So, yeah, it's even got a match listing. So, the matches here were really amazing. I really loved this WrestleMania. My only minor complaint is that they should have put Rock versus Hogan as the main event. Because, as the cover art will tell you, that's what was advertised. That's the match that everybody wanted to see. And sadly, that wasn't in the main event. The main event we got was Jericho and Triple H for the Undisputed title. And that match was it was a good match, but the fans were tired from the Hogan and Rock match. They were literally not cheering for big spots anymore. So, but it is what it is, Or I should have said it was what it was, because, it was back in 2002. Matches include Jericho versus Triple H for the Undisputed title. Lita, Jazz, and Trish Stratus for the women's title. That was right before the main event, actually. Rock versus Hogan, obviously, that was what was advertised. Stone Cold versus Scott Hall. And, I'll show you the back one more time. Stone Cold versus Scott Hall. You had Regal versus Rob Van Dam for the IC title, which opened up the show. You had Ric Flair versus The Undertaker. Really great match between Flair and The Undertaker. There was a part where Arn Anderson hit a spine buster on The Undertaker. And then, let's see, any other matches. They had a hardcore match between they had a hardcore match between Booker. Damn it. They had a hardcore match between Maven and Goldust, which saw the interference of Crash Holly, Spike Dudley. And then they had a match with Edge and Booker T, which was a pretty good match. They had Drowning Pool perform live. They had Saliva perform live. They had the tag team Fatal 4-Way match, the Dudley Boys, the Acolytes, Billy and Chuck, and the Hardy Boys. Great match. I really enjoyed that match. It was like a four corners, I think it was an elimination match, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, really great match. Yeah, I think it was elimination because the first team to get eliminated was the APA. When, I think Bradshaw suffered a 3D from the Dudleys, and then that was it. Anyway, but Billy and Chuck retained the tag titles. Rock versus Hogan. Rock went over. Hogan put him over strong. Jericho put Triple H over for the undisputed title. Edge beat Booker T. RVD became the Intercontinental Champion. RV Weed. Sorry guys, I'm not a big Rob Van Dam fan. Guys are whatever. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a future video, like I said. So if I bash RVD in this video, then I'm sorry. If you're a Rob Van Dam fan, I'm sorry. But anyway, WrestleMania 18, really great show. Loved it, and I still watch it occasionally. And it's just amazing, man. Great show. Great matches. Great everything actually. So, all right. Next match, or next pay-per-view is Backlash 2002. This was, mine says WWE on it. I don't know how that, I actually ordered this on Amazon. But, it's TV 14. It's got Triple H on the cover. They had a tagline for this show. World Wrestling. It says World Wrestling Entertainment. What the hell? Alright, whatever. Anyway, this pay-per-view was right after WrestleMania. I'm doing this in the proper order, by the way. There's Brock Lesnar. That was the night Brock Lesnar made his pay-per-view debut when he defeated another professional stoner by the name of Jeff Hardy. Sorry, guys. I hate wrestlers who ruin their careers by doing drugs and then they expect WWE to forgive them and take them back. You know, but whatever. Anyway, so we had Brock Lesnar versus Jeff Hardy. We had, what else? Scott Hall versus Bradshaw. You had, forgive me if I don't remember all the matches. I'm just going to go over like the main matches. Stone Cold versus Undertaker with Ric Flair as the guest referee. The match ended with Flair kind of like swerving Austin and giving the win to the Undertaker, which a lot of fans were not too happy about. I think this is when Stone Cold was getting fed up with the company. The main event was Hogan versus Triple H for the title. Hulk Hogan went over thanks to interference by the Undertaker, and I think even Jericho got involved to some extent. So yeah, that was rather interesting. So this was a solid pay-per-view. I really enjoyed it. Take a look at the back. There's Lesnar. Yeah, Brock Lesnar beat Jeff Hardy. And really great match, actually. I really enjoyed Lesnar's. I enjoyed his early work in 2002. Prior to him becoming a prick that we know him now. You know, the guy's, I heard he's a total dickhead in real life. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, so Hulk Hogan becomes the champion. Boom. Billy Kidman versus Tajiri for the Cruiserweight title opened up the show. I actually remembered that right off the top of my head. And I think there was even a tag title match between Maven and Al Snow against Billy and Chuck. I think so. I don't remember very well. I haven't watched this in a while, guys. So, all right. Next up is one of the rarest WWE DVDs. I paid almost $200 for this DVD, guys. I kid you not. This is one of the most expensive and rare DVDs I've ever bought. This is Judgment Day 2002. According to what I found out on the internet, here on YouTube, is that the reason why this was so expensive and rare is because they had distribution problems. So they couldn't deliver the DVD. Like, they had to find someone to deliver the DVDs, and they couldn't find one. So the only way to get this back in the day was by ordering it via a magazine or something like that. But anyway, so yeah, this DVD is extremely hard to find. I got lucky when I found it. I actually had a sign for it when it was delivered to my house. So matches include Hogan versus The Undertaker. Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker for the undisputed title. Taker won with one of the more weaker looking choke slams. I still make fun of it to this day. If you thought the Goldberg choke slam from last year was bad, look at this one. I don't know if Gravity wasn't a Hulkamaniac, or I don't know if Taker was gentle with Hogan. I don't know what the hell the problem was. But it was a really, really bad looking choke slam. It looked terrible. And it's funny looking back, guys. You had Stone Cold versus Ric Flair in the Big Show in a handicap match. You had Stone Cold won, by the way. You had I might not go over all the results because that's probably gonna make the video longer. But you had Eddie Guerrero and RVD. Oh, I forgot to mention Eddie Guerrero and RVD fought at Backlash, and Eddie Guerrero won, which was cool. So I love Eddie Guerrero. I miss him. Viva la raza. And anyway, so there are some extras. I think they even have Regal versus D'Lo Brown, I think, for the European title. And then you had 2002 was just a good year for wrestling in general. I think music and wrestling were like the best things going on at the time for 2002. People can shit and urinate on it all they want, but man, I love this year. 2001 was a great year too. I think I talked about it here on my channel. So really rare DVD, guys. If you can find it, if you have the money to spare, you know, like a friend of mine once told me in a Facebook post, go big or go home. And I went big with this one, baby. I wasn't gonna let this pass, you know. So I'm not gonna tell you how much I spent, but it was almost $200 when I bought this. So really, really great DVD, great pay-per-view. Jericho versus Triple H in a Hell in a Cell match. That was a great match. This is the night where Tim White's refereeing career came to a screeching halt. And you had Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman against the Hardy Boys. That was unique. That's funny. Obviously, Heyman and Lesnar won. So, yeah. So then we had other matches. It was a stacked card, to say the least. So, but I don't remember all the matches, so I'm sorry. King of the Ring 2002. Pretty cool cover art. I like the cover art. It's pretty cool. It looks like a Brock Lesnar shadow. So got Undertaker and Triple H for the undisputed title. And yeah. This was the night where Brock Lesnar became King of the Ring. And there he is right there. Speaking of then he was known as the next big thing. Now he's the Beast Incarnate. I don't like the Beast Incarnate, but anyway. We had a lot of good matches. We had the finals of the King of the Ring featured Brock Lesnar versus RVD. Sorry, Rob Van Dam. So yeah, I'm trying not to piss off any RVD fans, but I just don't care for him. I think he's I'll talk about it later in a future video. But anyway, Lesnar beats RVD, becomes Mr. Money becomes King of the Ring. Sorry, Lesnar becomes King of the Ring. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. So great show. I mean, we had good matches. We had Flair versus Guerrero. This was right after Stone Cold walked out, and this was the night when The Rock made his return, and Triple H versus Undertaker is the main event. Solid match, great showing, and it was a really good show. And this was, you know, for what it was worth, it was really amazing. Kurt Angle versus Hulk Hogan, that was cool. And this was after. Oh, I forgot to mention for Judgment Day, it just came back to me. This was after Angle got his head shaved. At Judgment Day, Edge shaved Kurt Angle's head bald. That was funny. And then Angle had a stupid wig with a helmet on top of his head. It made him look stupid. And then he comes out on SmackDown. Oh, I had to put fertilizer and nothing happened. Who in the hell puts fertilizer in their hair? What the hell? Anyway, that's funny. It's all entertainment, guys. So, it's King of the Ring 2002. Great show. Really great show. So, the theme song was actually pretty cool. I can't remember the name of the band. I think it was Neurotica, some shit like that. Alright, now another one of the rarest DVDs you'll find. Same thing with Judgment Day. It didn't have distribution, so they had to use another method to have this delivered. You have to either buy it on WWEshop.com back in the day or by signing a magazine. So as you can see, the cover, pretty much the main event. You got Undertaker and Kurt Angle and The Rock. And I really love this pay-per-view. I actually watched it not live, but my cousin recorded it at the time. And really great show. Really great show. Solid matches. Had Brock Lesnar versus Rob Van Dam in a match that ended in a DQ. But fans weren't pissed. They were actually, this was back when Brock was beginning. This was back when Brock was beginning to, go over. Like he was getting his big push. There you see the screenshot of The Rock about to deliver the rock bottom to The Undertaker. This was back during Undertaker's American Badass years, but he was a villain at the time, and he was kind of playing a prickish character where he was, show me respect and all this other bullshit. I hated that Undertaker character. And he actually changed it up after this pay-per-view. He became a good guy again, thank God. So, matches include Taker, Rock, and Angle. And we also had John Cena made his pay-per-view debut against Chris Jericho. And I heard stories that Jericho got upset with Vince because Vince wanted Jericho to beat Cena, and Jericho wanted to put Cena over. So I heard that Jericho and Vince got into a screaming match backstage, and finally Vince said, "Okay, fine, you can put Cena over." He didn't want to do it, but he had Jericho talked him into it. So we also had Chris Benoit making his WWE pay-per-view return. Him and Eddie Guerrero teamed up against Spike and Bubba Ray Dudley in a tag team tables match, I believe. I think it opened up the show, as a matter of fact. This was also the night where they had not dual commentators, but they had split commentators. Like the first half of the show was called by Michael Cole and Taz, and the rest of the show was called by, well, obviously JR and King, So, solid pay-per-view all in all. And then you had Triple H and Shawn Michaels kind of like talking about, let's bring DX back together in a segment that took place on this pay-per-view. It's also the pay-per-view debut of Eric Bischoff. So, and really solid year that 2002 was, and I really enjoyed this pay-per-view. Solid pay-per-view. Glad to finally own it, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Any other matches? I'm kind of drawing a blank, but anyway, I'm just covering the more important shit that took place on this pay-per-view. Oh, shit. And, of course, we have, now going to the second half of 2002, this is the pay-per-view where Brock Lesnar went over and became the WWE Undisputed Champion. As you can see, Rock versus Brock. This was on Sunday, August 25th, 2002. And this was also the night where Shawn Michaels came out of retirement. You guys remember Triple H became a bad guy, turned his back on Shawn Michaels, put him through a glass window of a car, and pretty much sparking the beginning of Shawn Michaels' second run, which was a really, really amazing run. Shawn Michaels' return back in 2002 was just amazing. Everybody marked out. I personally got excited to see Shawn back in the ring. I seen him wrestle back in the day, but I've never seen him in his mid to late 30s. And he looked good in the match. I mean, Triple H made him look really good. They had an excellent match that was like 45 minutes, I believe. It was a long match. And, of course, the match ended with Shawn getting an upset win. Triple H got pissed off. He hit him with a sledgehammer, pretty much, signifying that the feud was not over, which it wasn't. It actually continued for the remainder of the year, actually. So, is that Kurt Angle? Yeah, it's Kurt Angle. He had Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. Is that Kurt Angle? Shit. I think it is, guys. I don't know. Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio opened the show. You had Ric Flair versus Jericho, I think. Or was that the next? I know they fought at the next pay-per-view. There's Shawn with the elbow drop. There's, I think it's Triple H. And This was the night when Brock Lesnar went over. He became the Undisputed Champion and sent The Rock back to Hollywood. This is the night after the show went off the air. The Rock turned into a bad guy because he was upset that the fans were they were more leaning towards Brock, and The Rock didn't like that. He thought that was disrespectful. So there you go. Cover art's about. I love the cover art. It looks pretty badass. So yep. Solid show. I think Edge and Eddie Guerrero had a match on this pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. Chris Benoit versus RVD. And I finally got it right, actually. This was the night where RVD was crowned Intercontinental Champion. I think. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because Benoit was Intercontinental Champion at that time. And RVD got the belt from him, which I was kind of pulling. I don't know who to. I mean, I didn't like Benoit's prickish attitude back then, but I was kind of leaning towards him to beat RVD. I don't know, RVD never gravitated towards me. I don't know, I mean, I did like him, but I didn't have a huge heart-on for him like everybody else did, you know? But, he had badass entrance music, I'll give him that much. So, Unforgiven, 2002, pay-per-view that followed SummerSlam. You had Brock Lesnar on the cover, looking angry as always. I don't think I've ever seen him smile, even back then. A lot of great matches. There you see some screenshots. You had there was even a tag match between the Un-Americans. Is that Kane? Oh yeah, that's Kane. Yeah, that is Kane. I think there was an 8-man tag. I think it was Booker T, Goldust, Kane. I don't remember all the participants, but they fought against the Un-Americans. It was Regal, Lance Storm, Christian, and Test. And Test lost to The Undertaker at SummerSlam. I forgot to mention that when I was talking about SummerSlam. So, this pay-per-view was really good. And you had Lesnar versus Taker, which was their first big main event match. And you had RVD versus Triple H for the world title. This was back when Bischoff awarded RVD the World Heavyweight title, and not too many people were happy about that. So Triple H was awarded the title. He didn't even win a tournament. Even JR would kind of get upset on commentary. Of course, that was his gimmick, was to trash the bad guys. So, not heels, goddammit, bad guys. So, there you go. I don't really remember all the matches. I have to go back and watch this, because I watched it once, and that was when I first bought it. But, solid show. I really liked the theme song. It was Adrenaline by, what's his name? Gavin Rossdale. The guy that used to sing for Bush from England. Anyway, good eye, mate. Anyway, alright. I have a couple more pay-per-views to go, actually. I really dig the cover art for this pay-per-view. It's got Kane's mask, and it has the No Mercy written on the mouth. Looks pretty cool. Kudos for WWE for that one. World Wrestling Entertainment Home Video presents WWE No Mercy. Now, this pay-per-view is rather... it's hit and miss for me, because this was the night where I thought Kane should have won the winner-take-all match. It was an Intercontinental WWE World Heavyweight title match. Kane was the IC champion. This was the night when they were going to retire the Intercontinental Championship or some shit like that. And unfortunately, the bad guy, Triple H, won, thanks to Ric Flair and use of the sledgehammer, which sucked. And I hated Triple H back in 2002. The Reign of Terror, as it would be known later. And then, which it really was. I mean, it was a really bad time. The Raw ratings were like really plummeting. And, you know. So. Great show. We had RVD versus Ric Flair. And other matches include Ric Flair, RVD. We had I think we had a tag team title match. I think it was Edge and Rey Mysterio against Angle and Benoit. I think. I could be wrong. And Undertaker versus Brock in a Hell in a Cell match. That was a great match. I really enjoyed that match. I got to show you guys the back. I think I did show it already. So, No Mercy was a great show. Really great show. So Brock Lesnar won the match. He beat the Undertaker. So, yeah, it was what it was. Anyway, so all right, Survivor Series 2002. One of my favorite Survivor Series pay-per-views of all time. This was the debut of the Elimination Chamber. So I actually paid a good amount of money for this one as well. No bullshit, guys. So, all right, so we have Elimination Chamber. You had Triple H, Chris Jericho, Kane, and you had Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and I'm a stoner, Rob Van Dam. What's up, dude? You want to get high? Shut up. Anyway, sorry, like I said, if I make fun of him, then I apologize. You know, it's just he has a habit that cost him his job. Or not his job, but he got him suspended like a fucking idiot. So, Survivor Series 2002, great show. Also on this show, we had Brock Lesnar versus The Big Show for the WWE title. And this was the night where The Big Show won the title, thanks to Paul Heyman turning his back on Brock Lesnar. And this was the night where Lesnar became a good guy. He became a fan favorite. Personally, I prefer fan favorite instead of babyface, because babyface sounds kind of gay. There you see. Wow, they actually got a screenshot of Big Show with no shirt, like back in his 1999 years. What the hell? Somebody botched that. Because back then, Big Show wore a singlet and some blue jeans. So, you also had great matches. You had tag team match for the SmackDown tag titles, which was won by Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero. And then you also had... they had a funny segment with Christopher Nowinski and Matt Hardy, back when Matt Hardy was doing his version 1 gimmick, which I thought was really trash. I hated it. I didn't like Matt Hardy version 1. I liked the Matt Hardy Boys gimmick. So it was fun. Then Scott Steiner comes out and kicks both their asses. He gives like gorilla presses to both of them. This was when Scott Steiner was bursting on the scenes, and we all know how that turned out. It didn't result very well, as you'll find out in the Royal Rumble review later on in the future. We also had Victoria versus Trish for the women's title in a brutal hardcore match. We had the Dudley Boys reunite. We had Bubba Ray and Spike Dudley and Jeff Hardy against what was it, 3 Minute Warning and Rico in a 6-man tag team tables match, I believe it was. And then Devon Dudley, or he was known as Reverend Devon. This was back when they split up the Dudley Boys, and they made Devon become a Reverend, and that didn't really result very well. Well, it did introduce us to Batista, one of my favorite wrestlers. But other than that, it really didn't do much for him. So Devon comes out wearing his Dudley Boys uniform. He's got the camouflage pants and the T-shirt with the 3D logo. So the Dudleys were reunited, and he helped his brother Bubba Ray and his other brother Spike, and then Jeff Hardy. He helped them win. So yeah, I think it was elimination tables match. I'm not sure, but whatever. Anyway, the theme song of this show was Saliva. Always, always, always. I just can't live without you. Okay, sorry. Then we had this match, the chamber match, where Shawn Michaels went over, became champion, and JR was like marking out on the commentary, "Do you believe in miracles?" And it was great. It was a feel-good moment to have Shawn go over as world champion, even though the reign wouldn't last very long, because, as we're going to get into here in a bit, with the next pay-per-view. So, but anyway, solid pay-per-view. Every championship that was on the line changed hands. You know, like, look at it. The women's title changed hands. The WWE, the SmackDown tag titles changed hands. The WWE title changed hands. The World Heavyweight title changed hands. Every belt that was at stake in this pay-per-view was changed. Like, it changed from different people, which was pretty cool. So, all right. I know this video's been going on for too long, but anyway. Last but definitely not least, one of my favorite events, Armageddon. And this pay-per-view had a pretty cool set. There you see the Armageddon. The logo is sideways. Let's see, flip it over this way. Ah, crap, I almost dropped it. At least I caught it when I did. So, there's the Armageddon logo. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. I was totally not expecting that. So you have, I actually bought this at Hastings back in 2008. It was actually Hastings in Dallas, because there's not one here in Houston. So, you have Armageddon 2002. There you see the main events for both Raw and SmackDown. You have Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and then you have Kurt Angle and The Big Show. So, it's funny how they put the champions on the left and they put the challengers on the right. Pretty cool, huh? I just paid attention. I just now noticed that. I didn't pay attention back in the day. It's pretty neat. Think about it. You got Shawn and Big Show, the champions, and then you had the challengers, Triple H and Angle. And it's funny how both titles changed hands and the owners only had it for a month. Pretty weird. So, take a look at the back. It even has the date here too. December 15th, 2002. And there's some screenshots. Like there's Big Show. Well, it's the Big Show. Another one of my favorite wrestlers. You also have who's that? A-Train? Yo, that is him because you can recognize his hairy ass back. And then there's Batista, and there's Kane about to hit him with a clothesline. This pay-per-view was pretty cool. You had the opening match was a tag team fatal four-way, I believe. It was Booker T and Goldust against Lance Storm and William Regal, against the Dudley Boys, against Christian and Chris Jericho. And Jericho and Christian, I believe, they were the champions going into this show. So, yeah, Booker T and Goldust won. That was pretty cool. Edge versus A-Train ended in a no contest when Edge, I think he hit A-Train with a chair or some shit like that. And then you had Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit. It was a good match, but it wasn't as, it was not too bad. It was okay. It was an okay match. It was mediocre to say the least. And then you had, sorry if this, I'm looking at the time here. This video has been 40 minutes. Wow. It's over 40 minutes. It's like 43. Wow. This video is going to take a long time to upload once I upload it on my phone. But anyway. This was the night where they had a 3 stages of hell match between Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And it was a great match. Shawn had a really great performance that night. Unfortunately, he was not the victor because Triple H had to come back and win that title again, did he? What a waste. Oops, sorry, I had a burp. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. And then you had Angle versus Big Show. This match here on top, this went on last. This came on before the main event. So we had Big Show. Big Show looked he didn't look good in this match. I mean, he had some great moments, but he just looked fairly, it didn't look like the Big Show like from years prior. He looked, maybe it was the time when his weight was beginning to catch up with him. I don't know, but he did weigh 500 pounds at the time. But Kurt Angle got the win, thanks to Brock Lesnar giving an F5 to the Big Show. And then other matches. They had a really weird-ass segment. I always skip it when I watch this. They had a segment with Dawn Marie and Al Wilson. And they could have done without that. Honestly, they could have done without that segment. Like, it is what it is. Now looking back, I mean, it happened. Like, they made it seem like Tori Wilson was a lesbian or whatever, whatever. And then her Tori's dad, Al, I don't know if that's her real dad or not. I don't know. Probably storyline. It was a really weird segment. It was just odd. It was odd. So, it was a really good pay-per-view for the most part. Batista versus Kane was a really, really great match. Batista came out on top, just like everybody predicted. And great show. I really enjoyed Armageddon 2002. So, and this pretty much is going to wrap up the video. I know it's been long. I know I went, well, it's going to be almost 50 minutes now, but I'm going to go ahead and shut this off, guys. If you like this video, make sure to leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And my name is Vicente Llante. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you're being safe, taking care, taking proper precautionary measures, and no haters allowed, guys. No hate needed, all right? Take care, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios, amigos.